So what made you decide to get into cosplay?
The kids.
The
kids?
I
went to the conventions and all the little kids wanted to take pictures of me, like the smiles on their faces.
Oh, nice.
And
how long you been doing it?
I've been doing this since 2012.
12.
Yes.
Nice. And how many costumes do you say you have?
Over 20.
Over 20.
Yes,
oh,
over
okay.
20.
What are some of your favorite ones out of those 20?
My favorite, Harley Quinn, of course. Spider-Man, Deadpool, Sailor Mercury, Starfire is one of my top favorite ones. Michonne from Walking Dead.
Oh, nice.
Man, there's so many. I love all the Mortal Kombat ones. So I have Jade, Melina, and Katana.
Nice.
Yes.
And what's the biggest convention you've ever been to? Comic-Con?
I would say the Dallas one. The Dallas Anime Convention. I don't remember the name of it though.
How many people you think might have been there? 5,000 or 6,000 maybe?
Probably.
Easily.
Yeah, like easily. 5,000 or 6,000.
Go.
Cool. So let's do it in front of this fence line. I think the fence will look cool behind you. Let's bring that higher up hand a little bit higher. Cool. And put your elbow back. Yeah. And this hand, slide it this way.
Actually, I love that one. I already know I'm coming. Oh, I love that one. That was like a video game one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Minus it. Okay. A few more variations of this. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
That looks like a video.
Yeah, that does. With that double light, contrast light. Fan back in. Hold it flat. Yeah.
Tony, I'm gonna have to buy a green man suit.
Put your back against this hand and drop to this one. I see your fan. Can you hold it up higher? And put your yeah, like that. There you go. Cool. All right. Nice.
How's it going, guys? My name is Alfonso Chavez, and you are watching the Camera64 Podcast. And today we are being brought to you by Sonic. We want to thank Sonic for supplying our cherry limeades and strawberry limeades. In case you're wondering who this is, well, this is none other than Daniel Grove. And today I had the opportunity to run around with him and on one of his shoots, and I thought it would be interesting to share different kinds of photography that other photographers do. As many of you know, I have been an event photographer as well as a portrait photographer for about 13 years. So we're going to let Daniel kind of tell us what it is that he does, what kind of photography he does, and a little bit about the equipment and some of the behind the scenes as far as when he gets everything home and gets it onto his computer, and some of the equipment that he uses to get to the final product. So how are you doing this evening, Daniel?
Good. I'm doing good now that it's cooled off. Very Texas earlier, very hot.
Absolutely. It was I want to say, gosh, it felt like 100 degrees out in the sun. And every time that shade would kind of come in and cool us off, it felt like a 10 or 15 degree drop. Yeah. So if you're not from Texas, you know that we don't schedule sessions in the middle of the day at all, either early morning or late in the evening.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and start by telling everybody what kind of photography it is that you do.
So I like to say I do creative portraits because that kind of covers everything. I'm most known for my cosplay, Star Wars, superheroes, comic book characters, everything in between anime, all those fictitious worlds. That's what I'm known for. But I do other stuff too. I do creative themes, like 1940s portraits of a family, or Viking photo shoot of sisters. It's not a character, but it's a theme or an era. So that's why I kind of say a creative portrait artist just vaguely covers it all. But I just love being creative. I like to make interesting images that are unique, and hopefully that no one else has. That's kind of my goal: make images you can't get anywhere else.
Absolutely, that's the whole idea. Yeah. That's what we really want. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this: when you first came into photography, did you go directly into this field, or was there different types of photography you did before this?
Yeah, I kind of worked my way up to where I am now. So I started with just playing with Photoshop as like a middle schooler. I, as well as many others, had illegal copies of Photoshop back in the day, and I repented. I just played with Photoshop and just messed with images, learned about all kinds of stuff I could do. And then I started using my family's digital camera to take pictures of nature. So I kind of started with still life, nature, abstract things, macro shots, stuff like that. And eventually, sometime actually pretty far into my high school years, I'd already been doing photography for a while. I was good at it, but I hadn't really done people photos. I hadn't done portraits. I didn't discover my love for that yet. So like my junior year, I did, and it just like it was a whole new world. It's a personality, it's a person, it's a story behind their face, and if they're dressed up, it's an added story. Now you got like 2 layers to a photo. It's a real person, but also a fictional world. But yeah, I just fell in love with portrait photography late in high school.
So what was one of the first action hero shots do you remember doing? What was one of your first ones?
I don't remember my first official cosplay shoot. I've tried to recall it, but my first like very purposeful shot that turned out how I wanted was an engagement shoot, and it was a Star Wars engagement shoot. The groom was dressed as Han Solo, and his fiancée was dressed up as Leia. Not Luke and Leia. That would be Han. So Han and Leia. And it was actually a story shoot. So I drew out like a comic book frame by frame, like a comic book story. It was 4 pages. And so as we went through the photo shoot, we actually copied each frame by frame. And in the end, their end result, they had like a 4-page comic. And it told the story of them in a forest, and then Han proposes to Leia. She says yes, and then some Sith Lords show up, and they have a fight. And it was really cool, and it turned out awesome. I probably spent a month and a half just editing the photos. It was really long because I was new. I didn't know how to do it quickly. So yeah, that's my earliest well done shot that I'm proud of.
Nice. So now that you're talking about software, what's the primary software? When you first start off with the picture, where do you start? And if there's a secondary program that you use after that initial, what program is that? So what are the 2 programs? Which one first and which one, if any, is after that?
Yeah, that's great. So we're talking about workflow, the from start to finished product. My first thing I touch and use is Lightroom. Adobe Lightroom is awesome for editing photographs of all kinds, including portraits. So I do my basic photographic related edits like exposure, color, contrast, all the normal stuff in Lightroom. And then I move into Photoshop to do the finishing touches. Some shoots I don't even need Photoshop. Like it's just a great photograph. I don't need special effects. I'm done. But if I do need to do retouching, if I need to remove anything from the background or add some special effects and lasers and lightsabers and stuff like that, then I'll of course be using Photoshop a lot as that final stage to add the extra pizzazz to the photo.
Gotcha. And when you do composites, on average, what would you say that the average well-done composite takes you to do?
I don't like that question. I don't like my answer.
Well, I know it takes time because if you're a perfectionist, me myself, I try and get as much of the picture as I can correct in the picture because for me personally, I don't want to go into Photoshop. I want to stay away from it as much as possible. Not that it's scary, don't get me wrong. I know Photoshop backwards and forwards, but I just don't want to go there. In other words, if I can go into Lightroom and get it done, then that's what I want.
Yeah.
And so I spend more time setting up my shot exactly the way I want. The lighting's always correct. So usually if I'm off, I'm maybe off 10% here or 10% in my shadows I need to bring up, and things like that, but nothing major.
Yeah.
So, but in my mind, when I hear, it scares me. I've had people ask me, hey, can you do a composite of this? And I've done composites. I did sports photography. So we do a lot of composite as far as sports photography goes. Now I can't imagine. Sports photography for me is composite. Is remove the background, slap in a background, slap an overlay with the team name on it, and I'm done.
Yeah.
But now your type of composite is way
whole new level.
So how much time?
Yeah.
What kind of time frame are we talking? And not only that, but like the customers, how do they see? How do you think in their mind they see the amount of time that you actually put in?
They have no idea. Sometimes I tell them just to reassure them, this is what you're actually paying for. It's a lot of my time to make this image amazing. So as far as time, It ranges from 1 hour, which could be a simple composite, nothing crazy, a lot of 3D stuff. It's just straightforward. So it could be a 1 hour composite, it could be a 20-hour composite. And the photos that go really long in time is often because I have to design things from scratch. So I do 3D modeling and 3D rendering as kind of a side hobby, but I brought that hobby to merge into my photography work because now I can make a full scene background that never existed in real life. If someone is holding a prop sword, I can make the real looking sword and put it into their hand and it looks realistic. So I do 3D design to, kind of add a new level of realism and fantasy.
I'll be honest, that's like a whole total.
It is.
I don't even have the.
I'm a glutton for
I
punishment.
couldn't come up with an idea for a background. We steal backgrounds, or I make abstract backgrounds.
Sure. Yeah, it's so easy.
Yeah.
I make it real hard for myself, but in the end, no one in the world has a photo like this.
Yeah.
And it's totally copyright free because a lot of times these backgrounds are not one-to-one copy of something else. It's just an original creation.
Gotcha.
And that's great for me because I don't have to pay anybody and I don't have to worry about a lawsuit 10 years from now,
Exactly.
So yeah, the ones that I have to make stuff from scratch take a lot of time. Matching the perspective is a really difficult thing. And then matching the lighting from the real photo to the digital stuff I'm adding, the background and the foreground, matching the lighting can take a lot of time too.
Wow, I can imagine that. But I always thought, gosh, compositing just takes so long. One of the other questions I have for you too is the ideas, dude. When a client comes to you, I'm sure you get all kinds of clients. I mean, I myself sometimes I get clients and they know exactly what they want. They'll come with their Pinterest. I want this shot. I want this shot. I want this shot. I want the background to be this color. And that's great for me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. For me, that's exactly what I want because I'm not a very good, as far as being super creative, that's not me. So how many of your clients actually come to you and they've already got their whole idea planned out?
Very few.
Or do they just come to you
Not a lot of
and they
them, no.
just pour into you and say, Daniel, this is kind of, I kind of want to do this. I think I want to do this. And they just pour into you and you gotta make it flow out exactly what it is they want.
I think most clients that come to me don't know what they're getting themselves. They don't know what they're getting themselves in for, because they come to me and they know my images are good and they want that look or that style. And then when I get into the details of what they might want, so they may not know. So I'll throw out some ideas and they're like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever heard of," or "Yeah, oh, and then what about this?" So I can spur on their creativity to come bring ideas out of them that they may not have known about.
Yeah.
Because they may not call themselves a creative person like you or me, but they may still be creative somewhere deep inside. So I kind of bring it out of them. But yeah, there's a brainstorm process that goes on early on. I come up with poses a lot of the times, specific poses for each shot. Lighting setups to get different colors and different dramatic looks that I want. And there's a lot of homework too, because if I'm not familiar with this character that I'm shooting, which is like I can't watch every anime out there.
And that's all. And that's a whole bunch of time out of your schedule. Things that you got to go. Because I mean, to go online and do an online search. I don't know about you, but once I start an online search, it's an hour, 2 hours.
Rabbit hole.
2 hours. Yeah, exactly. It's like from one thing to the next thing. And, oh no, this looks better. And it just keeps going. It keeps going. So let me ask you this. Okay, so now they've gone through. They've done the whole Daniel experience, the whole 9 yards. Have you ever had anybody who says, "This picture stinks"? Has that ever happened?
I've had a few clients that weren't like thrilled about the end result. When I thought it was great, I thought it was unique and cool, and they weren't like wowed. But not too many honestly. Maybe they didn't feel bad because they know I spent so many hours and they don't tell me. I don't know.
Now the reason I asked Daniel this is because as a portrait photographer, I like shooting at night, okay? So sometimes we'll get weddings, we'll get quinceañera young ladies, and we take some awesome pictures, and I can tell you, the picture that I spent the most time setting up, I spent the most time doing little add-ins, and I don't do that, Daniel. I just don't do that, right? But every once in a while I will, and I throw it in there, and I think it's like the greatest thing ever. And I tell them, here, pick out which picture you like.
They never get it.
Or put it in order which one you like the best to the least. And 9 times out of 10, guess what? That picture that I thought was the best was at the very bottom of the list.
Yeah. It happens a
And
lot.
so and I'm going to tell you that for me personally, that's why I don't like to be super creative, because
Risky.
It's risky, absolutely risky, because you can spend a lot of time, put a lot of effort, and not get anything back at the end.
Yeah, one thing I like to do is, if I can, I'll let the client pick which photo they want me to do the special work on. So I'll take maybe 4 different poses that are composite worthy. Like, I have a general idea, like, I don't know, space background for this one, rebel for this one, just general ideas. And I don't do any work on them yet, but I'll send them 4 photos and say, which one do you want the composite of? And they pick, and then I go from there. That way I'm not like digging myself into a hole thinking I'm going to find gold, and then I hit rock and they don't like it. I was like, I thought you were going to do the other picture.
And they're like, oh my gosh. So, as far as equipment, Daniel, what would you consider to be essential for your shoots?
Yeah, essential for my style of work. I love my 50mm lens. It's a 50mm 1.8. It's only about $100, and it gets really good, just clean portraits of people. You can get a nice blurry background if that's the look that you want. But I like that range. It's really nice. Another thing that's really essential for my style of creative portraits is lighting. So I use wireless off-camera lighting. I love it. You can add color to them. You can get different, directions of light behind them, light beneath them. You can light up their hand with blue if they have energy in their hand. There's a lot of possibilities when you know how to use light. So off-camera lighting is really huge. I really like the Yongnuo brand. They're super cheap and very replaceable. They're only like $50 to $100.
Yeah, you knock it over.
Just $70.
Just order another one on Amazon.
Not $700. If I were to get the name brand, it would be like $500.
Exactly.
But Godox is another brand that's definitely better than Yongnuo.
And that's what I use, guys.
Yeah, I'm moving into them. I'm kind of migrating to the next better step, which is Godox. I have their 8200 light right now.
Okay.
That's my main light, and those are really great. And other than that, it's just creativity, planning, and good software use to get a good outcome.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about what it is that you do?
Well, I guess I'll plug myself, because I have a lot. Since I do a lot of different types of work, I have a lot of outlets online. So the easiest way to find me would probably just be to Google me. Honestly, I have like 8 different sites. I do YouTube with it. I do educational content for photographers. I also teach a lot of 3D animation and 3D modeling. I've got Instagram and Facebook for my photography. I have a weekly podcast that covers all kinds of nerdy, creative stuff and interviews. That's the Visionary Variety Podcast. And of course, my website is danielgrovephoto.com. So if you just Google Daniel Grove Photo, you'll find me all over the place.
And if you haven't seen him, I'm sure if you're in the San Antonio area, you've probably seen his work on Facebook or somewhere, Instagram or some other place.
On the news.
Yeah, he's been all over the place, guys. Gosh, I wish I could be that popular. I'd be doing fantastic.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, I want to thank Daniel Grove for coming out and joining me today. I just wanted to share somebody else's photography, because I know that you guys have seen a lot of my work, and I do portraits, and I love doing portraits. I'm going to keep doing portraits, but it's always good to kind of reach out, branch out, see what other people are doing, because believe it or not, even though his type of photography is very different from mine, I can still learn stuff by watching him, watching his interactions with the models, his interactions with his assistants. So there's always something to learn, guys. That's why I always like to invite people who are interested in photography to go ahead and if it's not with me or with Daniel, or don't be afraid to ask to be an assistant. Hang out with people, hang out with photographers. We're actually a lot of fun to hang around with, guys.
I think so.
Despite what you might think, but we're actually pretty nice guys to hang around with, guys. So thanks again, Daniel, for coming out.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And we're gonna put this all together. I'm gonna get this whole video together, hopefully in a week or so. So I look forward to putting this video out, guys. But till next time, I want everybody to just keep shooting and let this train pass, because it's getting really loud, the train. We're gonna let the train pass, guys. So till next time. So till next time, y'all take care. Camera64 out. Oh my God.